Importance of afterlife according to ancient Egyptians. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. In the words of Shelley's Ozymandias, who beautifully described inscriptions on a fragmented and antique statue which belonged to the ancient Egyptian civilization, in today's video we'll be digging deep into exploring the significance of the afterlife according to ancient Egyptians. Ancient Egyptians' religious ideas laid the foundation for the distinct and unique civilization. Despite being shrouded in mystique, these ideas impacted and drove civilization on practically every level known. Interactions with gods in their worship placed date back to ancient Egypt. They built shrines at holy spots where the gods were thought to reside. Along with paying high regard to their deities, the ancient Egyptians placed a high value on the concept of an afterlife. They thought that a person's soul, known as the ka, survived death and needed to be fed in the hereafter. The Egyptians believed that the gods governed the afterlife and that a person's deeds in the present life affected their fate in the next life. The seven Hathors, who were the well-reputed gods and the goddesses, were responsible for deciding one's fate after birth, and the soul then went on to live as good a life as it could in the body it'd been given for a period. Death was merely a transfer to another place, where if one was justified by the gods, one would live forever in a paradise known as the Field of Reeds. The ancient Egyptians named the afterlife the Duat, and believed that it had just one doorway, which might be entered by passing through the deceased's grave. The first sight a soul would see upon entering this world was a corridor lined with interesting statues, including the hawk-headed god named Horus. The departed arrived at the hall of Mat after completing their trip through the underworld. Their chastity would be the deciding element in whether they could join the kingdom of Osiris. Next, Osiris would judge the virtue of the deceased soul and bestow a pleasant afterlife to those who deserved it. The Egyptian idea of everlasting life was frequently interpreted as endless rebirth. As a result, the spirits who had lived gracefully were led to Osiris to be reborn. Many of the activities taken by Egyptians after death was intended to influence the god's choice to grant another life. Spirits were considered to return to the mother's goddess womb after being judged. During this stage, the soul reunites with its repaired previous body. Ultimately, the ancient Egyptians, longing for immortality, was represented in countless lives. They would be awarded a second life for all eternity if they performed honorable things in their current existence. Moreover, many rituals had to be carried out through one's life to obtain the perfect afterlife. This might have included acting justly, and according to Egyptian religious principles, it was the obligation of the living to carry out the necessary last traditions so that the deceased might reach their final fate as soon as possible. Finally, maintaining high religious morality by both the living and the dead, as well as sticking to a variety of customs, ensured the departed an easier journey into the next world. Mummification was a process that the ancient Egyptians adopted because they thought that the body needed to be preserved for the deceased to be reincarnated in the hereafter. Therefore, they buried the dead with the intention of being reborn again. Ancient Egypt is prominent for having a rich civilization. To understand its belief systems, several books were written, plus several tombs and temples, which remained intact, provided a peek into their world. Enjoyed the video? Why not subscribe and explore our channel, because we unlock new mysteries every week.